What's going on? Welcome back to the Kickin With podcast. My name is Zac Holcomb. This is the big episode 30. 3-0.
30. All right. That's the same as my age.
Oh, perfect. That's why I had you on. This is Dan Owens. You might know him as the funny guy from Facebook, but we're going to get all into that later.
Sure.
My brother was like, who is it? And I was like, he wrote this thing and then it kind of went like this, and he wrote this thing and it went kind of like this. And I was like giving him the thing and I was like, oh my God, I feel like all those middle-aged women that follow all of his posts.
Terrible. Yeah. A lurker. Those lurkers that are out there that just everything. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, yeah, man, thanks for coming out. Super psyched about it. Again, another one of those ones where you just walk in and then we're 15, 20 minutes into conversation. We're like, shoot, that was like all of our good stories.
We should have been recording all this. I mean, I'm done now pretty much. So
that was all you had.
We'll see what we got.
We'll tap back on the BB gun story. Mm-hmm. We'll get into some bourbon stuff. I want to talk a little bit, as much as you can, at least, about like what you do
100%.
in a day job with like, I'm into marketing, obviously. Mm-hmm. It just excites the tar out of me, so I'm excited about all those fun things.
Sounds great. Let's do it. We maybe talk a little wrestling, too.
Old school.
The new school. You've helped out with my son a little bit on the wrestling. So,
first year wrestling dad.
Yeah, I know nothing about wrestling. I'm still trying to figure. You and I are going to have to sit down sometime. You're going to have to explain the whole scoring thing, too.
Oh, we can do that, yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, and it's quick, too, you know?
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, the referee's like this, and I'm like, yeah, you got two, and then I'll look up and he has no points anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll get through this.
Yeah, they call the pins a little quick down here, too. Which sometimes they call them quick, sometimes they call them slow. You never know what you're going to get.
As a parent, though, and I've watched my son play a lot of sports, this is the most difficult one I've ever had to watch. I mean, just you're watching your son either slam or the other night body slam somebody, and it's like, oh my God. And my wife, bless her heart, it was like the first one she went to, she was like, what am I said, you don't want to go. You don't want to
just
go.
don't even go.
Because that's her snuggle puppy out there.
Yeah.
And so she went to the first one. She came back. She said, you're right. That was rough. That was hard to watch. Just every time I get caught up in it.
Yep. I love it too, man. It's like ingrained in my blood. Like as early as I can remember, I was doing that. Like at like the youth level, like age 7 and age 8 specifically. I was on like this ridiculously tough travel team on the west side of Columbus. My dad took me. I went to a private school. Went to a little private school, and then my dad picked me up, and then we'd go to the west side of Columbus city schools.
That's rough. That's rough area.
And they were the toughest kids. I mean, you didn't find kids that were tougher. So you leave, wearing your nice little shirt to school, and then you go to these kids that they just don't have as much. So they're really invested in everything that they do. And this is all before like video games and stuff. So like kids were, like 8 to 12-year-olds were like men today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Tough. But yeah, it's been an experience for me because closest thing I ever got to wrestling was Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and old school wrestling.
Yeah, that's what smash pillows, off the top bunk.
And he came home. He said, because he had been playing tennis and he's a band and stuff like that. I think I'm gonna be on the wrestling team.
That doesn't go with these other activities.
I mean, do you have to wear a mask? Because how does that body paint? What? And my dad, it's like actual wrestling. I'd never been to a wrestling match. Never seen like this type of wrestling in my life.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure, and it's definitely. My mom used to hate going to them too because she just thought it was terrible. But my dad loved it. He's like, I'm breeding it. He's like, I'm just building this little gladiator. At 7, 8 years old. My dad loves it.
It is cool to look in the stands and you see the parents that are like so involved in it. They're like, kill him, hit him, pit him. And I'm just back there like, please don't get hurt. We don't need to go to the doctor.
I just don't want to burn a copay today. Yeah.
Exactly. I hadn't met that deductible quite yet. I want to do it tonight if we don't have to.
Exactly. I luckily never broke bones or anything in it, but I had one match where I was wrestling a kid and I got I was down and dude pulled my shoulder or pulled my arm across and stacked me up real quick and then slammed me down. And I just I went out and I didn't really know. It's the first time I had went out in my life in a match, and I didn't really know what happened. The ref's stand up. And I was like, cool, must have been the end of the period or something. And he's like, shake hands. And I was like, nah,
I'm good.
It's the second period. And he was like, you just got pinned, bro. I was like, what? And I walked off, and my dad's like, you big whatever, you didn't even try. And I was like, I don't really remember what happened. And so it was a Saturday. That Thursday, this Brakeman report had come out. And it's basically this guy does this intense report of his top 20 wrestlers in each division in each weight class in the state of Ohio, and he writes the whole thing. Well, this kid was projected first or third in the state in Division 3, and it had just come out. And so my dad was convinced that I had found that report and read it, and in my head I knew I was going to lose. And he was like, you just went out there and you didn't even try. He's like, he put you on your back and you didn't even try. And so I went and watched the video, and I was like, Dad, look, he puts me on my back, and then my legs Like, I'm asleep, bro. Like, I was
I'm
gone. So, anywho, that was the only time I went out, though, in a match like that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's
not too bad.
Again, you're going to have to teach me all the rules and everything at some point. 'Cause I don't get it. I know what a pin is. That's about it.
Yeah, and 2 for a takedown. I mean, it's pretty standard. Oh, getting out's 1.
Okay.
Pretty basic.
Sure. If you say so, I'll go with that.
I love it. Well, I think I caught your wife today driving by.
You may have.
She looked in, and I was like, I can't see that far.
I know last night she wrote, she got home, she said, yeah, he was filming another one last night or something like that, because they had a little Bible study over at the brewery, because that's the best place to have a Bible study.
I like that.
But, I mean, you go where you need to go to find who you need to find. So, but yeah, she was leaving there, and she said, yeah, were you supposed to do it tonight? And I was like, no, I don't think so. Hope not. But she said you had somebody in here last night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we had Danny Rice in. That was episode 29. It's going live here in a minute.
Can't wait to see Danny.
It was a good one. We had a good time. And then, I told him you were up next, and he was like, oh, he lives right down the street from me.
He does. I
like,
ride by his house in the golf cart all the time and pick up trash in front of his house. A lot of beer bottles in front of Danny's house. So.
Yeah.
And they're not Danny's, but somebody keeps dumping them in his yard.
I like that. And at Columbus, on Ohio State campus, maybe this is like this at ECU a little, but they drink and they throw the cans out in the yard. They don't need to pick them up because by the time they wake up in the morning, the bums come through and clean up all the
aluminum and everything in bottles. Yeah. Not as much in Greenville.
Not there yet?
No, not quite there yet.
It's super affluent over there, apparently.
I can assure you it's not. It's just definitely affluent and ECU really don't go together, right. Unfortunately.
We joke about that in town here because, the amount of aluminum that you see on the streets and trash is, we're like, not that bad. They pick that stuff up right now.
To me, me and my wife were talking about this the other night. I've got a golf cart and I drive it in the city and drive around our neighborhood, which you're not supposed to do because it's illegal. But they lay off of me and let me do it because I'm old and crotchety. But one of the things I love to do, in the morning, is get on my golf cart and drive around the neighborhood and just pick up any trash or anything like that. It's just me becoming an old man like my dad. And it's surprising to me how many beer cans and beer bottles are people have thrown out of their car. And all I can think of, there's people driving around. You got to have a big set just to be driving around town with open containers and all that kind of stuff. And we had 2 years ago, every Thursday and every Friday morning, I would have a little airplane bottle of Captain Morgan's in my yard. The same spot every Thursday, Friday for 3 weeks. This was happening. I was like, this is nuts. So I literally stayed up one morning, got up real early one morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock. Kind of went out, kept going out, and I saw the car come by and literally threw it out. And there's a guy that lives past me on another road, and I just got in the golf cart and kind of followed where he went in. So I knew what car it was. And I'd been collecting all these bottles and kept them. And so I shoved them all in his mailbox. And there I think there was 7 or 8 of them, and just shoved them all in his mailbox, closed it up, didn't leave a note or anything, which I really should have done, passive aggressive. But never had a problem since then. But the fact that this guy's got to go home, before he can even walk in the house, he's got to have a shot of Captain Morgan's.
He's down on.
I hate it for him. It's a terrible married life, apparently. I don't know. I don't want to call him out here or anything. But you got to take a shot before you walk in the house after the night shift. That's kind of rough.
Yeah. Stuff. Yeah. Were you wearing white New Balances and jorts when you did that?
No, I was not. In fact, I was wearing all black because I didn't want him to see me. Because he's a big guy. He would have whooped me if he didn't see me doing it.
That is too funny, man.
Crammed it all in there, closed it up, and never had one in my yard system.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Solve one problem.
Yeah, that's it, man. Just one at a time, solving life's problems. By the time you're all said and done, you'll be out of problems. That's the way. Yeah. That's the way you got to live. Sometimes. I get that though, man. I do as awkward or as weird as that sounds to people that don't have that. Mm-hmm. I've very much know some friends or people that legitimately can't get off work without going and getting it, and they're just a little sipper the whole way home, and it's man. Crazy, but it's very real.
It is very real, and you see it, I'm sure, all the time. It shocks me that how prevalent it is.
Yeah. The brazenness of just open container and with a bottle of liquor. Even though it's a small one, that's still you're getting there.
Oh, definitely.
You're getting the small bottles, man. The small bottles are more dangerous to me than the big bottle. Mm-hmm. The big bottle, you generally know you're not going to finish it.
Small bottle is just a shot. You're done and it's over with.
Yeah.
You see people getting just 8 packs of them or whatever.
Yeah, they just got a little.
Just get a whole bottle. It's got to be cheaper, but
it's not really about the price.
I don't think it's about the quality of the alcohol that's in it. Definitely.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Those little half bottles, though, man, those ones are dangerous.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
you think you take one of those to a friend's house, you think, man, and you get about halfway through it, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and finish it. No sense in taking it home.
Well, I hadn't seen any empty half bottles of Bullet laying around in my yard or anything like that, or
Why buy the full
Woodford
ones?
or Blanton's or anything like that. Nobody's throwing those out of cars, it seems like. But
Yeah, exactly. If they would,
it'd be
make sure they
nice.
don't break. Just
Those
leave 'em.
those people I would definitely follow home and just say, hey, can I hang out with you a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean,
You've got it
obviously,
right.
You've got something going on here. I'd try to help you out.
Yeah, I've just been slow. So we started to talk about it a little bit. I've just started to get back into the bourbon game. Lost my liquor license in my 20s. I was too good at it. Had to retire early. But I'm kind of making a slow comeback, and largely just because there's so many cool things popping up, and then the spots around town are bad influences on me.
Terrible.
Like the saloon.
Terrible.
Yeah, but I've been kind of dabbling back in there. I told you a little. I like to buy a bottle and drink it down till there's maybe a good sitting left of it, and then I go get something else and
Good plan.
try to save
Good
it.
plan.
Trying to build a collection. If I view it as I'm a collector, much less of a problem.
It's an alcoholic versus a collector. There's a fine line there, probably, but it's like I was telling you though. Really, the past 2 years, I've just now gotten into bourbon in general and what it is, and still trying to understand it. We hang out with a couple of couples that are a little bit older than us that have really kind of explained the whole bourbon thing to me. My idea of bourbon was a bottle of Jim Beam at a football game.
Yeah.
You go tailgating, you sneak it in, you put it in your sock or whatever, you get it in. And when we were in college, she was my girlfriend at the time. She's my wife now. She cut me off from that and said, "You can't do this anymore. You're not allowed." In fact, I wasn't allowed to have brown liquor in my marriage until 2 years ago.
Yeah, so we're in the same boat.
And so,
You had to
yeah.
retire a little
I had
bit.
to retire it, and it was a good thing. It was a smart move. But now it's more for learning the intricacies of it and the bouquet and the mouthfeel. I've just learned what mouthfeel is.
Yeah, not just the burn in your
Still
stomach.
kind of confused about. I mean, I think they can think of a better word than mouthfeel, obviously, but
It's good for ratings, though.
that's what they say.
Yeah.
It's-
Especially with the demographic that you're probably going to pull in tonight.
But yeah, I doubt that seriously. Everybody's already cut. When I said mouthfeel, everybody just shut it off right then. So.
We'll be able to track that on the analytics.
My pastor's probably watching now, going, "Okay, this would strike against him." But yeah, I went to the ABC store the other day, and I'm looking over there, and it's so the bourbon aisle is so expensive.
Yeah.
And I hate those people are hating me because I'm saying I got my phone out and I'm trying to, okay, this is rated this is rated that. And the lady came up to me 3 times, "Are you sure I can't help you?" And I'm like, "Well, do you have this one?" "No." "Do you have this one?" "No." "Do you have this one?" We had some of that, and that's $180. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want that one. Never mind. Let's go."
I'm glad you're out of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny. Different ABC stores I think have a different stocking depending on their clientele. So we need to up ours up a little bit.
Which one do you go to usually?
I go to the one here. It's in the old Pizza Inn building over by the plaza or across from the hospital.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And then every now and then I'll stop by this one down here.
Yeah,
In
that's my
Greenville,
spot.
I'm in Greenville 5 days a week already for 8-9 hours a day. So stopping over there, a little bit better,
Spread.
a little bit better selection there to choose from.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I know they did and I don't know anything about all this stuff except for the buzzwords, but they did
Lotteries
that
and
big
drawings.
allocated thing right there around Christmas, which
Oh, yeah.
they were psyched about that.
I mean, that's crazy. I haven't gotten to total collector status or anything like that, but several of the people I work with, they are. And it's like, "Hey, can you go by the liquor store today and get a ticket?" And I'm like, "Well, what am I getting a ticket for?" "The lottery." I'm like, "Crap." Okay.
Sure.
So go in there, and then, sure enough, they draw a ticket. I've got to give it to him, or I've got to go in, and he's telling me what to get there, and I don't know what he's talking about. And,
Right. Just going with a little shopping list.
12-year this, and I'm like, "Okay, if you say so." But yeah, they take it very seriously over there. We the last one I showed up to, they had, there was 400 people in line
That's
to
crazy.
get the tickets, and it was just
Yeah, I don't see myself ever really doing that.
well, they had one here a couple years ago, right around in December, and when I went over there, it was half the people I knew in Greenville were over here for this one. It's like, how did y'all know about this and I didn't?
Yeah, they got them on the Facebook page.
I was just trying to pick up some orange vodka to make some sup crushes with. No such luck.
Yeah, which are good.
Oh,
Which are good.
they're great.
Yeah, I bartended for a while, man. I freaking loved it. I was always trying to find that daytime bartending gig. It's if you could make that nighttime money
Yeah.
working lunches, man, I
Sort
would
of
have
Key
never
West
quit.
or something like that. Would be
Yeah, like a
perfect for me.
retirement hotel or something like that.
That'd be neat.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. Professional bartender life. I mean, especially if you had no kids forever. What else? What's better?
That'd be tough. But yeah, around here, with Stanley's and even Social House and a few others. It's the nightlife and getting to know the bartenders, like Mother Earth. I just left there, with Destiny's over there, and getting to know these guys and girls that serve drinks and they understand their craft. It's super awesome to kind of see them actually working. I always said I'd love to be a bartender, and then the more I watch bartenders and see bartenders, I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and then you're dealing with a bunch of drunk idiots all the time.
You're dealing with drunks. I mean, I'm out. I can't do that.
I did it at a convention hotel in Columbus. So the Columbus Convention Center is like the largest convention center outside of Chicago in that general area. And we would pull tons of like good conventions to that. And then the Hyatt Regency was attached to it. And so I worked for them. I was an employee of the Hyatt, which was fantastic because you're a bartender, but you have Hyatt Regency benefits. Like you get like a week of free rooms every year and like all these cool things. You get paid holidays. Kind of stuff. Yeah, like this. I'm like, this is fantastic. And then it was pretty decent. I mean, this is like 2010, 11, 12. We're making like $150, $250 a night 10 years ago. It was pretty sweet. Deal. Yeah. Good. I mean, I was making almost more then than I am now.
The older you get, though, it's like, I can't put up with this. So these people, they're just
So with the convention hotel, you never knew what you're going to get. And then it'd be like some holiday weekend, like Easter weekend, and like no conventions are trying to do Easter weekend. So they'd like sell a Comic-Con event. So then you're like, I got to freaking work. Like,
you got a furry up there trying to get some beer or something. Yeah, that's
Yeah. You got the furries coming through, and you're like,
trying to ID them and stuff.
Yeah,
you're like, can you take your mask off?
Yeah, they're like, you're like, yeah, it was a total nightmare. And yeah, they're all like young, and then you're at a hotel, so like you're charging, like a freaking Bud Light 2011 was like $4.50, which is astronomical then. And these kids are like, like they're just going up to the room and getting just laced up with whatever else they're bringing, and then you had to stay late. It was just a whole thing, but it was cool from the perspective of like getting to meet and talk to and communicate with so many different types of people. Like we would have like dentist in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday as like old ladies doing knitting, like a knitting convention, and then like Saturday, Sunday is a Comic-Con. You're like, what the hell am I doing here?
That's a lot of back and forth there. That's a lot of difference, but that keeps it exciting.
It was fun. Yeah, it was super fun, but yeah, good times back in the day. Yeah, very eclectic for sure. Well, I've noticed, man, lots of funny writings on Facebook. What got you into being like this writer? Is that just naturally come to you? Is it just easy and fun?
Yeah, yes and no. I'd love to say it just it comes naturally, and it does to some extent. When I was younger, I had a couple of teachers that really kind of brought it out of me. They made me kind of do a little bit more writing than I normally would have. Basically, I'm an introvert. I mean, and that shocks people. I don't like being around people. I don't like being around groups, but I like kind of collecting my thoughts, and I do it, thank goodness for the advent of the telephone. You can kind of do it on your phone, just hammer it out, and everything I do, I hammer out with my thumbs and on text, on just, a notepad or something like that. But I started writing a little bit kind of in middle school, and a little bit in high school, and then just got away from it. I mean, you grow up, life happens, that kind of thing. And I remember when Facebook started, and I was like totally against Facebook. I was like, this is the work of the devil. This is awful. Yeah, who's going to do this? This is stupid. Yeah. I mean, a bunch of kids sharing pictures. I'm not going to be on this. And then I noticed that I was prone to like kind of, if something happened, I watch people. I see people. I'm just a student of people. I love seeing, the airport is like my favorite place, and I will pick a seat like where I can just watch people walking by. And I'm getting to that age where I'm like becoming that old man Lear kind of guy, and I can't really do it, but I just love watching people. And me and my wife are the same way. We'll sit in like a bar and just kind of like fixate on groups and try to listen to conversations. But I also, when these things happen and I see these things, it's like, I've got to write that down. I've got to, and it wasn't to the point where I've got to make a story about this. I just like to catalog it, write it down. And I started going back through all these things. I'm like, this happened. It'd be a funny story, so I'd write it. And that's kind of what happened on Facebook. And so now I've kind of started compiling these into like some book format. So I've got a couple of books. It's like one of those little things where I work too much to really be able to do a book. But at some point, maybe when I'm 100 years old, or my kids or somebody will be able to publish this book and say, hey, maybe they'll make some money off of it. But my biggest thing is just watching people, and people say to me all the time, these things aren't real because how did this happen to you? And I'm like, these things happen to everybody. Yeah. Everybody's going to run into relatable. Somebody, and it's like you just have to you have to pay attention and see it happening. Every day you're running into stuff that's going on in your life that this could be a story. And there's nobody out there that things like this doesn't happen to. I mean, everybody's seeing the same things I am. They're just not cataloging it, writing it down, putting it into like words or whatever.
Yeah, the way that you like articulate all the little funny like little puns and the little ingest comments are freaking hilarious.
So my mother was a school teacher, and she was a school teacher originally, and then became like an administrator. But she was big on like using new words and using different words and like you said, articulating different things, putting it in different ways. And so I've always tried to kind of incorporate a lot of that into it. But then my dad, he loved to tell a story. I mean, he just loved to like talk, tell these weird stories. And granted, he's got to an age where he would tell the same story over and over and over and over. And I feel like I'm kind of getting that way too. It's older. It's like my daughter the other night. You've already told that story like twice last week. You're like, shut up. But combining those two things, those are two great things I got from my parents. Is that ability to conceive a story, see a story, and then from my dad's perspective, being able to tell the story, even if it's in like hammering it out in a text or format like Facebook or something.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have like the longer. I mean, not a lot of people write that much long form stuff and then post it in like a status like that. And
I have people all the time that just they say to me, "Yeah, you posted something last night. It's too long. I'm not going to read it."
I read like half of it.
That's good. I don't care.
Sometimes I like save them and come back.
Yeah,
or I'll like screenshot it and send it to myself.
It's all good. I mean, it's all, and it's. I tell people all the time. Nobody believes it. It's more for me than it is for. I'm just looking. Some people spend an hour a night just kind of watching TV or doing this. I love spending an hour just kind of hammering out like my thoughts, compiling a little story or something like that. And I've got tons of them just right here on my phone that just have never posted, never put out, just because I just like doing it. Yeah. I hadn't done a lot lately. I mean, work's been crazy, business has been crazy, so I hadn't had a chance to do as much as I wanted to do. But it's fun to compile them, get them together, and put them down.
No, it's sweet, man. I love it a lot. And it's proof that like content can generally be so many different things. Like I'm not taking a long time and writing more than like 3 paragraphs for a post. I'll just let's just make a video and I'll say it all. But like it's cool how some people their jam is it's whatever they're really into, and then you have people that consume things in different ways too, and 100%. They're really into different things.
Yeah, and it's like now the big thing now is the TikTok kind of thing. Let's do a quick video, let's do something funny, and that's awesome. I'd love to kind of do that kind of stuff one day, but just where I'm at, I love telling a story. So, and it's hard to tell a story in just
30 seconds,
little video,
60 seconds. Yeah, I'm with that too. I'm not really big on the shorts game. I can't. Well, actually, I take that back a little bit. I like over-indexed a ton on LinkedIn with video in like 2017, 18. They gave it to me they gave me early access to video when they were bringing it to the platform, and we killed it with that. Like that's why I'm literally sitting here. Is I popped really hard at just the right times and was able to leverage it into different things. And so, but I really did well of like doing a 30 to 75 second video, selfie mode on like a camera, like a phone camera, and then uploading it before 8 o'clock. So I'd like wake up in the morning and be like,
do it
so I could run in and record something authentic before 7:30 and then pull it and post it so it was hitting people's LinkedIn feeds
just
like
as they were getting to work, pulling it up, seeing it.
And it was like 7 minutes ago, and they're like, man, that son of a bitch beats me to work every day. And then he's like, what's going on? My name is
you're like excited to be there in the morning.
Yeah, they're like,
dude, that's great.
So it was a real fun thing there for a while. Awesome. But now I like the longer form stuff for sure. Like obviously the podcast is super fun for me, but like I like more of that long form, and I really like being able to put something out that's like an hour with no cuts. And then you're just like, it really, for me, it's hard for people to do that. And I'm like kind of competitive a little bit, obviously, because I wrestled a little. So like I like that. I like competing with stuff.
Doing something a little bit different, trying something a little bit different to see and getting that reaction out of them too.
Yeah. And it's kind of tricky to like, it takes a lot of time for someone to sit there and go for an hour and then not cut themselves and not, anyone can talk for an hour and then chop it up to 30 minutes and make themselves look fantastic. But like, I really like enjoying like the long free form stuff.
It's tough to do, and knowing your audience too. I mean, you're going to an audience. It's a specific niche that you're going for. I mean, obviously not 19-year-old girls. You're not attracting them because they want the little 30 second. 30 seconds a lot. 5 seconds or whatever. But definitely knowing the audience, and it sounds like that's the best way to do it for that audience too.
Yeah, I think so too. And then, they kind of catch up with them, and then they're like, hey, I've been busy all week. You put out like 6 hours of podcast this week. I haven't had a chance. And I'm like, it's cool, man. You got all weekend. And then you watch, like, I don't post anything on the weekends. And the weekend hours are like, you can kind of watch it and you're like, oh, yeah, somebody just clicked on there. And someone just vegged for like 6 hours. Because you can like see them you can progressing through it. It's really cool.
And for me, I mean, like watching, I haven't been into a lot of a podcast, but I find that, like, especially Sunday afternoons, that is when I can kind of get into a few. We do one at our office, and the guy that does it is just awesome. He does great stuff. He uses employees and puts them in there. And I'd love to sit there during the day and listen to it, but who's got that kind of time at work? And so, I'll pull it up on like Sunday afternoon, sitting on the couch, football game's on, stick the earphone in, and just start listening to it. And it's kind of the same deal. I can veg out all day Sunday afternoon listening to podcasts then.
Yeah, I like them too because you can kind of put them on, and then like you can be talking to somebody else, and like if you miss something, it's really not that big of a deal because you're like, it's cool, man. Dude putting out like 6 or 8 hours a week, so like if I catch 3 of it, you're doing golden.
Great. Yeah, definitely.
Plus, we like it, man. When they put it on, they just let it play. They get those hours up.
That's right. That's
trying to figure out all that stuff. We launch it pretty much from like my page, my personal page, like 46 subscribers, and I've spent no money other than like on all of the stuff, but like. I won't pay money to like advertise it or promote it. I refuse. I want it all to be just
organic.
Completely organic.
That's the best way to do it. That's shows kind of the strength of it at that point. Getting the organic views, the organic listens. That's strong.
It's fun. It's a challenge. I like it a lot. And not like I'm trying not to have 3D people on, at least for a while, and just doing it with the local folks and then putting it on YouTube because it's kind of a tough thing because a lot of people locally don't really care to jump over to YouTube. Yeah. But I just will not give them the full form on Facebook.
I've noticed that. I have noticed that. In fact, I was watching Danny's today. I was like, you had the little snippet. And it's like, I got to go back and watch it now. I'm going to have to.
I'm trying to get better about doing some little shorts of my stuff, but.
That's good.
It's like everything else, man. I'm sitting here trying to like, not go bankrupt in business, and then I'm like over here hacking, trying to.
Amazing. It's like you said. I mean, this is a time consuming doing something like this. So you spend an hour here tonight, an hour and a half, and then last night you have hours. I mean, it's like you're putting in the time, you're putting in the effort, and that's huge. That's what the work ethic that you don't see a lot today in anybody. Right. Obviously, in what running a business, entrepreneur that you are, and doing these kinds of things. There is no time to like lay down and not do anything. You've got to get it done, and I salute that. I think that's awesome. I love, I see what you're doing around Kinston, bringing the G back, and all those kinds of things. But I mean, you're nonstop, and I was telling somebody the other day we were talking about you. Your ears are probably burning, and it's like, I said that dude's doing like everything. I mean, you're riding up and down the road on your little one wheeler and going here, going there, talking, doing that kind of thing. Podcast, it's awesome. It's good to see, man. I appreciate it. As somebody who was born and bred here in Kinston, loves it to death, I've called this place my home all my life. Glad to see, what you're doing and doing it to make it a better place. You've done a lot of awesome stuff with this building. Appreciate the tour. That was great. Like I said, I used to check out the chickens and the rabbits right over here beside us. I mean, I remember bringing my kids in here, and like looking at those things. But even as a little kid coming in here, and it's just to see, the building's still here and your investment in it. That's super awesome.
Yeah, I was laughing the other day. I was like going back and clearing up some stuff on YouTube, and I saw like when we first moved here, I made a little video, and it was like me and my wife and the girls coming through the parrot store, within the first 30 days of us living here. And it was like, oh my God, my kids look so much smaller and like all that stuff. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we started with that. And like, it's and amazing. How long like it takes to do stuff like that. But yeah, it's super awesome. But yeah, I appreciate it on all the fun stuff, doing all that stuff. Because like, I can't stop. Like I have to be doing stuff like this. I hate going home and just sitting there and doing nothing. Yeah. So unfortunately, I'm kind of like the flip. Like I don't set an alarm. So I just wake up when I wake up. But like, I'll go home. I'll have this edited before I fall asleep.
So you're a night person, obviously.
Yeah, I'm more of a night person than a morning person. Like I can vibe till like 11, 12, 1, and then like no alarm, and then I'll like open my eyes when the sun is bright enough. Those rainy days I suck though. Yeah, I bet. Because I just don't.
See, I'm 100% morning person. I mean, I'm up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning, get my coffee, and that's the way I was raised. I mean, I used to get up. My dad would make me breakfast. We'd read the newspaper together, that kind of thing, and it's just always stuck. And I married a woman who is decidedly not a morning person. She is, she's definitely a married person, but not a morning person. She's, that late night owl. She'll stay up and read like until midnight, 1 o'clock. And it's like we're kind of passing ships in the sea. Sometimes.
Right.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I find myself now at like 8 o'clock. I'm like, I think I'm gonna go to bed.
For sure.
Really? You serious?
Well, that was like kind of our thing when we first moved down here, was like I was getting up early to bust it for additive because that was like the only thing that mattered at that point. So it was pretty much like sink or swim. Let's get this thing going or we're going to be bankrupt and with no job. So it was like that for a while. And then, it started to trickle. And then when she started doing Big Bark in like the last year, she works like, she crushes it like late at night. Like she'll do a website. Like
That's awesome.
we'll like hit the bed at like 9. And we moved the big TV into the bedroom.
Yeah, that helps.
The biggest TV is in the bedroom. The smaller one's out in the living room.
Good plan.
It's so like anti-family, but it's really not.
We need to do that. We so need to do that.
I just want the big one on the ceiling. One of these days, man. One of these days, like a projector.
They
They got to figure that out.
You'll be there soon. Trust me. Yeah, it can't be that far.
On the yacht, it'll have a TV on the ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, you can put it out in the river out there. You'll be safe.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I want to do a big yacht, but just have it right there in the news.
Park it right there. I don't know how you can get it there, but I mean, we can figure out a way.
Put it in the kayak launch.
That's not a bad idea. There you go.
We have jokingly talked about like, because we're trying to get the upstairs finished to move in. We're like, man, we get it finished a lot faster if we bought a camper and lived on the river down there.
May as well. I mean, like
Ride a scooter.
A bunch of people that live down there that stay down there.
It's not bad.
So,
I thought
I
about it.
guess so. Yeah.
I don't know how long I'd be married. 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 kids, and a camper, but
In a camper.
too funny.
That is good. That would be.
Well, tell me a little bit about this. I noticed you're a director of marketing.
I'm a director of marketing. A little company in Greenville called Grover Gaming.
Okay.
We are a software and game development company. Sounds real fancy. We don't make Fortnite. We don't make, we're not Epic Games or anything like that. We do make games for like the charitable gaming industry. And by gaming, we're talking about essentially it's a slot machine type of game. And we do it for regulated markets in places like Virginia, South Dakota, Ohio. We're pretty big there. Kentucky. And what we do is generally it's something that's kind of foreign to folks here because we've got like these sweepstakes parlors and things like that. We do not do that. We do the games that we supply and do are for primarily what's called charitable gaming. So if you go into Moose Lodge, a VFW, an American Legion, you'll see what appears to be almost like a slot machine, kind of a smaller, super graphics on there. You can put your money in. You have to be a member in those places to do it. And they take that money, and it's a revenue share. We get a little bit, and then the charity, be it the Moose Lodge, the VFW, they get the rest. And that's how they fund a lot of their missions. The Moose International, for example, they've got retirement homes, orphanages, all of those kinds of things all across the country. And the majority of those things are funded through electronic gaming in their lodges. The payouts are relatively small. It's not like Las Vegas. You're not going to you're not going to make $100,000 on the thing. I mean, most of the payouts in most of the states are like $500. They're already regulated by the state, and there's different state gaming commissions. So, like I said, a lot of regulation that goes into it. Each state's a little bit different how it goes. But we make not only the artwork and the game math and everything that goes with it, but we build the cabinets, construct the cabinets, everything that kind of goes with it. We're a full one-stop shop. And when I started there 5 years ago, I was about the 65th employee. Currently at about 430 employees in 5 years. So we've been able to go into a lot of new jurisdictions. Throughout COVID, that was really big for that industry because a lot of states were looking to find ways to kind of keep funding going on and things like that. And in a state like North Carolina, for example, you've got these sweepstakes parlors where the state's not really getting anything out of those, and it's kind of uncharted territory, a lot going on. It's the Wild Wild West, essentially. Gotcha. But in a state like Virginia, it's very regulated. They've got a gaming commission. When we put a game into that state, it's got to go through their gaming commission. They got to approve it. And when we go, into like Ohio or something like that, we've got to be licensed. And then we have these rules and regulations that we've got to follow. The game has to pay out at least like 92%. So for every dollar that goes in, that player is going to get 90 cents back. So it's a very small, it's a small amount. It's not like Vegas where we
play for a while. Yeah,
and that's what it is. It's social gaming. You go into a Moose Lodge. I love talking about Virginia. There's a place in Virginia. It's in Waynesboro, Virginia. And a little lodge up there, they got this little lady named Miss Edna. We love her to death. She's about like 72, 73 years old, sweet as she can be. And she'll go in, and there's a game that we have called Piggy's Big Break. Well, it's got this big pig on it, and he's painting, he's bouncing all around. And what separates our games from a lot of our competition is they're very entertaining games. So it's not just like, 3 reels spin, you get some cherries and you win. We've got the reels, but then at the top we've got the pig dancing around, and we've got a buffalo moving around, and it's interactive. The screens are all PCAP, so you can like touch the screen and the pig moves and it oinks or makes noises, things like that. So it's an entertainment aspect of it. But she can take a $20 bill, put it in there, and slap it down to like 25 cents a play. She's going to light up her Virginia Slim, sit around with her friends, start talking. She might drink a Natty Light or a cold Chablis or something like that. And it's just like, hey, I'm going to have a good time. It's a social aspect, the social fun of it. And when you go in places, and we don't have that here. We don't have like the Moose Lodge and the American Legions like they do, here. Ours are a little bit smaller, very underfunded, but there it's more this social aspect where they can go, hang out, play the games. They're all predicated off of, you might be familiar with it in Ohio, paper pull tabs. You could go into a bar and buy these little pieces of paper, you peel them back, and they tell you if you won. And generally you would go into a bar and like get $20, you get 20 tickets, sit around the table, have a drink and sit with your friends and see who won what and take it back up and get paid. This is an electronic version of that.
Okay.
And we do it, like I said, we're in, I guess now we're in, 14, 15 different, we've got offices, 15 different offices, I think in 11 different states, 11 different jurisdictions. Nice. It's really grown, really gotten better. Most of our games are created, really all of our games are created by just like super talented 3D artists and illustrators. And we come up with the whole game themes and everything. There's a catalog of 100 different games that we've got. We're churning them out every day. It's a very voracious market. I mean, there's always, and in our industry, we're in a very niche part of that gambling industry. Our eyes are set towards going into what's called Class 2, Class 3 gaming, which is what you would see in Vegas, what you would see in Atlantic City or any of these Indian reservations where you can go and do different gaming. A lot of casinos, Virginia just, granted licenses to 5 different casinos up there. So nice. It's becoming much more mainstream. We're happy where we're at, but getting into this bigger market, this Class 2 market would be huge for us. We know that's a kind of a huge step up. And that's kind of what we've run our business towards. That's kind of our goal for it. We're hoping by the end of March we have a product that we can release then. So it's pretty exciting stuff. And being able to market that from the beginning has just been, it's been exciting. And it's kind of, we use the phrase a lot of times, knowing what we don't know. And we don't know what we don't know. I mean, it's, we not a lot of folks in our company or in our business have worked in that Class 2 space. So we're kind of making it up, doing the disruption thing. Yeah. We do it a lot different than a lot of companies do, and it's both exciting and also both terrifying at the same time. Yeah. But we move fast. We've got several different core products that we put out there, and trying to market between historical horse racing games, video lottery terminals, electronic pull tab games, and then now Class 2 and some others that we do. It's fun. It's fun, but it's constant work, constant pivoting, constant moving.
Yeah,
which is marketing essentially, but that's our business model in general is all of that.
Well, it's kind of like our job as marketers to ruin as many free forms of communication as possible.
100%. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
it's getting hard to hack LinkedIn now because LinkedIn got so hot with the COVID and everyone being at home, then everyone became a content creator for their job, and it was like, oh man, they kind of watered it down.
They did,
and then they were able to pull in so much extra ad revenue, and now you're competing with all the ads, and then they flip the game to people with less than 500 connections, and they start boosting their posts so that they'll use the platform more. And you're like, no, I got 25K. What the heck, man? How did I get 9 likes?
Yeah, and we social media, we get it's kind of a double whammy because again, at our core, we're a gambling company, and you can't market gambling to people under the age of 18. So, our page is what it is, and we try to age gate it as best we can. But occasionally we do put something up that Facebook, we get that nasty little letter from Facebook. This has been deleted. Contact us before we cut off your thing. Oh crap, So and they're super vague on the rules, and then Facebook, Instagram are the worst because they're just super vague about what you can put up, what you can't put up. We only had 3,000 or 4,000 followers. Nobody cared. I mean, you could put up, Edna winning a $100 prize, jumping around. If we do that now, I think we got 24,000, 25,000. If we do that now on Facebook, they will cut it real quick. So we've got to be very careful about kind of how we market, what we market, especially across social media. And we're cognizant of, there's minors out there, and we don't want to market towards that. LinkedIn, we use that obviously more for securing, hiring help, helping our HR department, pushing that through. Not a lot of our locations are on LinkedIn as far as our business side, but
the decision makers in those
it
places.
is huge. It's a huge piece for us though in recruiting and finding talent. We bring in because believe it or not, in Greenville, Kinston, Eastern North Carolina, there's not a ton of like super seasoned 3D illustrators. I know you're shocked to hear that. There's just not, especially with 2 or 3 years of gaming experience. It doesn't exist. Right. So we really have to go out of our norm, and we have to recruit outside of this area a lot of times. And we've been very successful recruiting folks from California, from Nevada, Michigan, Ohio, even New York and the Northeast. It's an easy sell, believe it or not. And you say, hey, Greenville's located between halfway between the coast and Raleigh. You're about 45 minutes from the beach. And we got a college over there with 30,000 people. Maybe 70% of them are female, by the way. And that kind of thing. You use any selling point that you can. And once they look at it, and oh yeah, and you can buy a house for like $200,000. People, I'm in. I'm totally in. Exactly. And so that's kind of the cool part of it. Odd part is if we go to Raleigh or the Triangle and say, hey, we want you to move to Greenville, do this. It's like, Greenville, I'm out. So I can get a guy from Los Angeles without any problem coming here, talking to him, make him an offer. He's in. Raleigh can't do it. It's like, can I just stay here? No, we're collaborative. We need you in the office.
You need them in.
We don't do a lot of work from home. Very collaborative atmosphere, especially with our art teams, our development teams. It's everybody's kind of in pods. You look around. Hey, can you check this out? Can you look at that? And we did it. We did it a lot during COVID. We did a lot of work from home, and it's possible. It can happen. It's just for our business and our core, our secret sauce is a lot harder to work it that way.
Yeah, it's less natural for sure when you really got to schedule a meeting to have a creative conference on something.
Instead
real
of just turn around, hey man, can you come check this out? Look at this. Is this good? And it's like the folks that work for me on the marketing side. I'll get a Slack message. Hey, can you come over and look at this? Yeah, sure. Yep, looks good. All right, great. It's not I got to set up a Google Meets call or a Zoom call or do this and then connection issues. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. That's it.
Golly.
I hate living those types of things. I'm not a big meeting person. I'm not crazy about meetings in general. I like the face-to-face stuff a lot more. But it's part of the game now. You got to do it and soldier through the best you can.
For sure. My stepmom, my dad's wife, loves freaking going to the casino in Columbus because we just got maybe like 5 or 6 right before we moved. Maybe probably like 10 years ago now, really. But loves it, lives for it. Goes in like every Saturday, gets the free play points and all that, the discounts on dinner.
Do the player rewards cards and get all kinds of discounts and stuff. Yeah, it's. I'm not a funny story. I'm not a gambler at all. I don't gamble. And it's there's the religious side of it, sure, but it's also the fact that I just suck at it. I've tried it, done it, can't do it, never won anything. I don't understand a lot of it. It's like, wait, what? Why do you mean I didn't win? I don't get it. And also, I'm a very much a Scrooge. I can't stand seeing money like leave me. Right. Yeah, don't want to do that for anything. But yeah, it's this for most people. It is this like kind of social. It's a recreation. And if you're not, if you know what you can spend and you know what you have the ability to spend and you keep it at that, it is a recreational activity. I go out and spend a lot of money on golf, and I get nothing out of that. At least with gambling, you have a propensity to probably win something or get some of your money back.
Yeah, at some point in time.
I'm not getting any of those golf balls back that I've hit in the lake out there, or the pond, or the woods, or people's houses.
Those are all losers.
They're gone. That's money down the toilet that I probably could have spent gambling instead. But
you at least got 35 cents back on the dollar, maybe gambling.
At least.
That's what she says about it. She's like, no, I just like going because it's what I like to do, and I take whatever, but I don't go see a movie with my friends.
Yeah.
We go to the casino, and I'll spend $50 on nickel slots for the whole evening, and she's like, I can sit there for hours, and I love it. I just love hitting the buttons. I like seeing things go, and it's just, I like it.
And that's, my mother-in-law, she visits her sister out in Oklahoma, and they've got a lot of them out there. And her sister-in-law loves it. That is like kind of her thing though. And she's not out there trying to get rich. She's not out there trying to spend a lot of money. She's just out there to kind of, hey, this is my time suck. This is how I kill my time.
Yep.
And she has fun doing it. And again, those games are they're entertaining. It's not the old days where you got the little one-arm bandit where you just pull it and you're hoping you get cherries. There's a bonus feature involved. There's this buffalo stampede going across, and if you appreciate especially like art and video and things like that, it is like super cool to just sit back and watch those games and how they come. We were in I have to go to Las Vegas like 3 or 4 times a year. Poor me. But And again, if you don't gamble, it's not as much fun.
Do you get to go to CES?
I don't go to CES, but I go to G2E, which is like the second largest show they have out there. That's the Global Gaming Expo. Okay. Haven't been to CES yet. I'd like to go to that. I hear that's
I really want to go.
Super cool. I'm really excited. I want to one day go to a trade show out there where I'm not putting together a booth and all that kind of thing. So, but just being able to kind of go to Vegas and sit in a casino and see these games in action, these huge like James Bond game, the Willie Nelson game, the Snoop Dogg game, and you're watching like these people have just done incredible work with like graphic design, the illustrators, the artists. It is super cool to watch. If you appreciate that kind of stuff, forget the whole gaming aside, just the entertainment side of it is incredible.
The art of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that stuff is really cool. I love that stuff, man. Like, Steph's starting to get into, like, some, like, different animation. I mean, nothing like what you're talking about, but it's super cool. I mean, you got to start somewhere. It's super cool watching her. She's, like, more of a creative graphic designer and things like that. That's, like, what she kind of did school for a little bit and stuff. And I can be creative, but, like, I can't make a thumbnail to save my life. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't have, like, the ability to be like, I'm going to grab that shape and a couple of colors and some gradient, and I'm going to bring it all together and have it. I can take a template and make it look all right. But
so I struggle with stick figures myself. I mean, I don't have like what I would call an artistic vein in my body. I can like doodle something, but my whole staff laughs at me because I'm like, okay, this is what I want. I've got it in my head.
Yes.
And if I could ever get it from like here to here, and it'd be incredible. But my staff laughs at me so hard because I'll just like make this like square and then this like thing here and there, and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, come on, man, you can hear it. You can tell what I'm trying to do. They have no idea. Yep. It's like, okay, just try to do something. And I'm at a point a lot of times where I'm like, not it. Okay, that's it. Yeah. So, and they've got they're great folks. I mean, they're good people. So it's like they put up with me.
They deal with it. Yeah.
They have to. I mean, But
it's like me in 3D land. I can tell you exactly what I need it to be like, but I can't draw the spiral on the.
It's all up here. It's all up here. I know what it's supposed to look like, or I want it to look like.
I can't even do. Grant started like doing some of the CAD stuff and designing things, and I'll stand there and I'll be like, just grab that sucker right there and fill it real hard and pull it this way. And he's like, hold on, you got to go back to this sketch and this tree, and you got to adjust that, and then that throws this off. And I'm like, just tell me when you get it done.
Yeah, that's funny.
Let me know when it's ready.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, same deal though.
Yeah. That's good stuff. I'm learning the video stuff. Video editing is like my new little thing I'm like pushing myself into. I used to just jump on Premiere Rush and it was good enough. And I'd like occasionally open Premiere Pro and be like, oh my God, it was like overwhelming. There's too many options, buttons, sliders.
After Effects and all these other things.
I was like, I don't even know where to start. And now I'm zipping around. I kind of have my idea of what I'm doing when I'm putting these together specifically because I'm pretty much just, I've got a template in my mind now of like how it needs to work. And it's just much quicker once you start. So
we hire, that's in our department, we've got graphic designers, obviously we've got some motion graphic editors and designers, and to a T, it's like everyone you talk to, it's how did you learn this? And taught myself, self-taught. Almost all of them are self-taught. I mean, sure, a few of them got some schooling here and there, but very rarely do we come about somebody who's got like super good talent, super incredible talent. They went to like a 4-year college, got a degree and video editing, and it's like you put their stuff up against somebody that's self-taught, that's done it for like 6, 7, 8 years. There's no comparison. This person, the passion. Anytime you've got a passion about something, you're going to learn it. You're going to do it better. You're going to be more involved in it. And when we hire people, people laugh at us a lot of times. We don't, as a company, I mean, almost to a fault. We don't go out and get the most super talented person. We find people that've got the right fit, but we also look for people with that passion. And that's like one of our core values is passion, adaptability, reliability, and teamwork. And if a person doesn't check all those boxes, then they're not coming through that door. I mean, we're not going to. Right. But I definitely find with passion, especially when it relates to art, illustration, marketing, anything you do, if you don't have that for it, I mean, it's no point in carrying on the conversation.
Yeah, and it's very quickly just going to be a time exchange for a paycheck, and then you're sitting there as the employer, the person that brought him in, or like the manager of a department. You're like, oh my God, this is
what am I going to do? It's got to find either another seat on the bus for them, or you've got to make some hard decisions.
Yeah, make the call. Yeah,
that's tough to do.
Yeah.
So you try to nip that in the bud at the beginning, and we have a pretty extensive process, but still, it's sometimes a situation, and people fall in and out of seasons sometimes. Maybe that's it my thing, but it's when we were a small company, it was pretty easy just to kind of silo in on people. This is who we want. This is what we're going to do. Now we've gotten bigger. We've had to scale. Scaling's a big term in our industry and in our company, and just finding the right people for the right position sometimes is sometimes a challenge. But we've been very fortunate so far.
That's sweet. That's sweet. Big ECU guy, right?
Huge ECU guy. Yeah.
Went there.
Went to my first ECU game. I was born in August of 1972. Went to my first ECU game in September of 1972.
Nice.
My parents drove me there as a baby. My mom went to school there. Brother went to school there. I went to school there. That was just our Saturdays in the fall growing up. My dad, he didn't go to ECU. Went to it was Barton College, then became Atlantic Christian. But he loved football, loved sports, and if you love football and sports, you had to be, and you're here. That's kind of what you did. And he just every Saturday, in the fall, we were ECU. We would go to Greenville, make the trek, tailgate, do the whole thing, and it just kind of ingrained in me. That's something I was born with. But I mean, even like weddings and stuff. I mean, when my wife and I got engaged, we got engaged in like June, and called my parents and said, hey, good news. We're getting married. And my dad, first question he had, he didn't even ask the question. He said, well, don't do it during football season or I won't be going. And, my wife laughed. She kind of had. And I was like, he's not joking. I mean,
babies.
I had none of my extended family's watching. We had an uncle pass away several years ago. And his funeral was on a Saturday during football season. It was my mom's brother. And my mom was like, well, we got to plan for this, plan for that, blah, blah. And my dad was like, I'm going to a football game. It's like, we were playing like Temple or somebody.
Yeah,
like big. And sure enough, me and my dad, and my brother went to the football game. My mom went to her, and it was a sad day, obviously. Sure. Certainly not nothing, but that's how seriously our family took it. Mm-hmm. And so my wife got throughout college. Of course, I went there, and then my wife. That's where I met my wife, was at ECU. Okay, so cool. huge ECU fans. Football is definitely our thing. I'm a huge ECU baseball fan. Yeah. Really kind of my second big passion in sports. Mm-hmm. Basketball, we haven't quite achieved the greatness that we long for. I think we're 60 years in at this point, so maybe one day.
You guys been to the tournament?
We've been twice. I know 1992, I think, we went.
Okay. Well, you were there then, right?
I was actually not there yet. I had gone to Atlantic Christian or Barton College for a year, and then came back and went to LCC for a year, got my associate's degree, then went to ECU.
Okay.
Long story there. We'll get into that in another podcast. So anyway, but that 92 was right after is when I went in. But played Carolina in the first round. They ended up winning it that year, the whole thing. We gave them a good show, good game. But that was a big funny thing. A lot of ECU fans around here, they cheer for one of these other schools in basketball because we've never had it.
Right.
I'm not that guy. I don't cheer for any schools in the Triangle, Raleigh. I just
for nothing.
Yeah,
don't need them.
I might cheer for like a Comet to hit while they're like playing each other or something. But
That's a good answer.
That would be it. I mean,
don't even pull for them if they're playing like Joe Schmo school and whatever. You're still. Do you root against them actively because they are? Yes, I love that.
Any of my friends that are like Carolina State fans are watching this like yeah, that's him. Because I could care less. I could really care less. And it's like Carolina State, Duke. I don't. I'm an equal opportunity hater. Yes. Man, that's what I am. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a hater, definitely. But Wake Forest is hard to cheer against. It's like they're Switzerland. I mean, they're Switzerland. It's like they're kind of nobody really cares. But if any of them are playing Wake Forest, I'll cheer for Wake Forest. I won't cheer. I'll just like, come on, I hope they get them this time or something. But that's about it. And I have no connections to Wake Forest whatsoever. Yeah.
Well, they were putting it on those teams a couple of years ago. They had like a little run there. Yeah, they put it on Duke one time real heavy, didn't they?
Yeah, they've got a pretty decent football team lately, and pretty consistent, I guess. But again, I don't follow them. So.
Yeah, I mean they were like top 10 there that one year in football. Yeah, pretty good.
And then my wife is from Oklahoma originally, and had a lot of family like in the Oklahoma area and system and things like that. So. I am kind of by proxy also an Oklahoma fan, which I get a lot of side eyes for that.
Married into Sooners.
Married into Sooner Nation out there, and my son has really become a hardcore like Sooner guy. In fact, he wants to go to college there.
That's right, I remember.
And it's like, so I mean, I'll cheer for Oklahoma. I mean, it's not a bad football team to cheer for. In fact, when they had Lincoln Riley was their head coach. He used to be at ECU, and so I knew him from there, and then. When he went to Oklahoma, it was hard not to cheer for him.
They made it all right, for sure.
Made it easy. It's a little bit harder now because I don't have a lot of there's no connection there, really. But he wants to go to school there. He's visited. He goes on a little pilgrimage with my mother-in-law out there every year to visit family. Yeah. And this past year, he got to do like the full tour. They rolled out the red carpet. and they're blowing them up with all this material and this, how much out of state tuition is and things like that.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you're going to get a wrestling scholarship, but let's look
He
at
does.
maybe
He does real well in school, though. Doesn't he?
He does exceptionally well in
That's what I
school.
thought.
He's and
He's very smart.
he's super smart. Well, and I don't know where he got any of that from, but he's like super well rounded, like a lot of different things. He's saxophone player for the band, loves music, loves jazz. Your intro music, if you ever need to redo that and have somebody do a little, just talk to him. He will whip it up for you. But tennis, plays tennis, drama club. He's in he was in one play already. He's going to be another one coming up. So
Nice.
he does a little bit of everything. Spreads himself a little thin, in my opinion, sometimes. So
Feel that.
we try to kind of temper him down with that. But yeah, super good. And he's got some big decisions to make when it comes to college. And
Is he a junior?
he's a junior this year.
Okay, so he's got a little bit
He's
of time.
got a little bit of time, and he's one of those though. He's going to make a decision, stick with it, and that's it. I mean, there's not going to be a little waffling. He wants to go ahead and make it and go with it. So we'll see where it ends up. My daughter's just the opposite. She's like super impulsive. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Nope, gonna do this. Nope, gonna do that. And that's cool. That's kind of the way she is.
She's her vibe, yeah.
Yeah, she went to ECU and had a good couple semesters there. She's gonna take a semester off and kind of relax and sit back. She's got a little job now. Her first real job. Well, she was a lifeguard for a little while, but she's doing a little jobby job thing.
Okay.
So she's trying that out before she goes back to school, probably next semester. So
Gotcha. Very cool.
she's a whole lot different than him. She's I'm raising two totally different children, and so it's fun stuff.
Who's more like you and who's more like mom?
She is. I would say she's 100% more like me in the impulsive side. We both are kind of we've got to learn from our mistakes, but we're going to make a lot of them, and that's perfectly cool. She's got a little bit of my sarcastic and sass, and when I was her age, I wouldn't say I was rebellious, and she's not rebellious, but it's more of this, I'm going to do this, and people are going to tell me not to, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I'm going to show you I can do it. And I'm going to do it wrong, and it's okay. We'll figure it out later on. My son is a lot like my wife, much more measured, much more calculated. He's got a plan. He's going to do these kinds of things. And so, yeah, I'd say he's 100% more like her. She's just like me at that age. I mean,
I like it.
And I, it's one of those things where, gosh, I hope you kind of grow out of that. And I sort of look back and say, okay, at this age I was doing this. Okay, that's pretty good. I can live with that.
Right.
And so as long as when she gets to this age, she's doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah, you kind of have that that number in your head
There's
where
that
you
line,
kind of ticked a little towards
line
adulthood.
of demarcation there. It's like when you get to here, this is what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
If you're not, we got trouble. We got problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's awesome. She's doing good things, and she'll get there. And again, just kind of keeping him kind of level. And he really wants a job. He's like, I want a job. I want to make money. I'm like, well, dude, you ain't got time. I mean, I'd love for you to have a job, but unless you're going to be working till 11 o'clock at night somewhere, it's going to be tough to do.
He's got a bunch of other things going
He
on.
does, and he manages them well. I mean, he manages them a lot better than I ever could. So, and again, it's just with band and wrestling's been super good for him. When he came in and said he wanted to do wrestling, I was like, dude.
I think we talked about it like roughly real quick on like Messenger after like the first tournament or something.
Are you serious? You want to do wrestling? What preempted you? It was fun. A friend of his, Landon, was wrestled last year. I think Landon talked him into it, got him going to all the practices, all this stuff, and then he's like, "Yeah, Landon's not going to wrestle this year." I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
we were
he's
giving
still
him some about that too. Landon worked for us for a little bit in the summertime and stuff, doing scoots and blasting parts and stuff.
I love Landon. Landon's a good kid.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He is funny.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's too cool. Yeah, I definitely noticed that Zach is a smart kid because, like, in the wrestling room, especially, is like you say something and he just adds it to his repertoire immediately. And usually that's kind of tough in there because I'd say most wrestlers aren't that bright because we're kind of crazy and you got to be a little dumb to be like, I want to do this thing where people hit me in the face all the time. Like, what I mean? You got to be a little not right for it.
He comes home and he's like throwing these words around like Peterson and this and that, and I'm like,
that's my jam.
what? Like we have any idea what
you're
world
like,
you're talking about. I mean, I can't even keep scoring the thing. You're sitting there using words like Peterson, like I know. I said, Dad, I'm gonna try Peterson. I'm like,
and he does.
Yeah,
he hits it.
I'd say he's like, I almost got it in this, I almost got it in that, but. Was really hoping he'd get a pin. He didn't get him a pin. He did get him a win, but he didn't get him a pin this year. So hopefully, next year he's like, I'm getting that pin next year. So and I think he's one of those. He sits around and watches the videos and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So
nice.
he's gonna figure it out.
Very cool. I love the sport, man. It's like it has something for everyone in it, and it doesn't really have to be tied to success at like a win-loss ratio. Yeah. It's hard as hell, and like it makes a lot of things later on not seem like such a big deal.
It seems like it's as a very mentally, not only physically stronger, but makes you mentally stronger as well. And the neat thing with him is I've seen him like taking more care of his body, his health. He's not coming home eating a bag of chips and getting a thing of Takis and 2 hot dogs every day. It's like he's actually watching what he eats. He's being more careful. Freaked my wife out the first time he came home. He was like, "Yeah, I got to lose a pound or something like that." We're like, "What? Wait, no, he's got to hit this weight, this kind of thing." Yeah. But he's doing it by being very careful, drinking water instead of like sodas all the time. Exactly. So it's been it's been neat to see that maturation in his lifestyle. Right. Because normally that when if it's outside of tennis season, he's just going to eat and do whatever he wants to. But he took weightlifting this past semester, and he got swole. Like some little muscles on him.
Yeah, because early on I was like,
he was string bean. He was like tall string bean, weighed like.
He reminds me of my brother. Yeah, like he looks like Grant.
And that's exactly what I looked like when I was his age. Okay. I was like, gosh, I had a 28-inch waist until I was 30 years old. I mean, where did that go? But I was buying pants for him the other day. I'm like, "What's your waist?" He was like, "Well, I mean, I can wear a 29, but I need a 28." And so we put the 28 on. It's like falling down.
Yeah, he's got like his belts on like the last hole. Yeah. That was me, dude. I'm the same way. Me and Grant actually. So Grant, I'm like 5'7", 5'8". Grant, I'm 5 years older than Grant, but he didn't wrestle in high school. He didn't do any of the weight cutting or anything, and I did like stupid intensive. Like my senior year, I got like addicted to water pills from my 380-pound grandpa because my grandma would be like, she like slid them to me. It was terrible. So I I was always cutting weight and stuff in high school when I was growing. Like my feet one wrestling season when I was a sophomore went from 7.5 shoe and I had to go buy a 10.5 during the season. But I was cutting from 121 to 103 like weekly. It was crazy. Horrible. Yeah. And so my foot got like that much bigger and I didn't grow an inch because I was just like cutting weight. So but anywho, he's like 6'3". My dad's 6'3". My mom's 5'1", tiny. I'm like right in the middle, 5'7", 5'8", but me and him both wear the exact same size like jeans.
That's crazy.
Like, who would have 28, 30, and then he just has like this ridiculously long like torso. I'm like, how did you get that?
I was the tallest one in my family, like by far, about 2 or 3 inches. I mean, my dad was 5'4", my mom was 5'1", my closest brother, is like 5'5", and then I came out like 5'10", which is short in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, but in our family, it was like I was the great white hope, so I was going to play basketball or something. I mean, it's like, wow. And then, my son comes along, and all of a sudden, I mean, it was like, during COVID, I mean, he was like short. He was shorter than my wife, like when COVID started. And then COVID ended, and he's like 2 inches taller than me. And he's still growing like crazy.
And he still doesn't weigh, what, 120?
Yeah, 120, barely. I mean, and that's after a bag of Takis and a Mountain Dew. I mean, he's some rocks in his pockets or something. But
he's super light and lanky.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, which makes wrestling even. It's a tough body type for wrestling. Yeah. Tall and lanky for sure.
It's fun to watch him out there though, and I mean it's hard, it's tough, but I can tell that he's trying so hard. So it's kind of neat to watch.
Yeah, I would definitely say I did some coaching in Ohio and stuff before coming down here, and then I really didn't do it when I got down here. I was real focused on work stuff, and then just kind of wandered in there the last year or so. And out of like all of the kids I've coached anywhere, he does and it maybe it just is like ignorance to other moves, like just doesn't know a whole lot. So he's like, hey, I know 3 moves and 2 of them were the ones that Zach said. Yep. So he just does them. But like he actually does it. And like you can have other kids, man, and they can have all of this and all of that and skill or talent or whatever, and you can tell them something and they just refuse to do it because they're just going to do what they want to do. And it's like it's such a breath of fresh air to be like, you show someone to Peterson and then you watch him wrestle 3 matches that day, and he freaking tried it like 2 or 3 times in each match, and I was like, that's what can you ask for? It's fantastic.
And he's one of those where he's a direction follower. I mean, hey, Zach, I need you to do this, 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 and this, and it's going to get done. I mean, tell me to do this, it's not going to happen.
Or your daughter.
Or my daughter. Yeah, it's definitely not going to happen. But and she'll get around to it. She'll do it with like panache and make it exciting and kind of a game. But he's going to be very serious about it, structured. Yeah.
There you go. Little yin, little yang, man.
Gotta have it.
Yeah, we got that going on with our kids too, man. I got 2 daughters, they're 2.5 years apart. And
how old are they?
Oh, we're getting there. We're 12 and 9, almost 10.
Okay, it's a good age.
Yeah, we don't.
It does. I'd love to sit here and tell you that it gets easier. It does not.
No.
The hardest thing in parenting is raising adults, because my daughter's an adult now. She's 19. Right. So it's like, oh, I've got rules that you've got to follow. I'm an adult now, and okay, but other things come into it, like you've got a doctor's appointment. Well, I can't call the doctor and ask them this. You've got to do that. On you, yeah. What do you mean I got to call the doctor? All these things that we've done as parents, it's like now she's got to do them. So the growing up has definitely happened, but man, raising them, the older they get, just there's the good parts of it, but then there's also the like, oh gosh, yeah. And the hardest part, my parents got much older. They were in their 90s, and they passed away like in the last 5 years or so. But I was having the same conversations with my 90-year-old mother that I was having with my 16-year-old daughter at the time. It was just two totally different levels, like cell phones. My daughter wanted a new cell phone. She wanted a new Apple phone because so-and-so had a new Apple. I want a new phone. My phone's 4 years old. Why can't I get a new phone? Like, no, it's just not going to happen. Can't afford it. You don't need a new phone. And I go visit my mom at the retirement center, and she said, I want a new Apple phone. And I'm like, what do you mean you want a new Apple? I want Sally down the hall. She's got a new Apple phone. I want a new Apple phone. I'm like, I just had this conversation 30 minutes ago. Why am I having it again? And it was the exact same reason. I mean, it was like, God, you two peas in a pod. They're all this identical.
They come back around.
Yeah, they really do. And it's my daughter was reminding me the other night that I'm becoming a lot more kind of like my mother too. She's like, you're acting like your parents did. Oh God, this is terrible.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I know. I just put like 7 Captain Morgan bottles in this guy's
mailbox. I'm not that petty a person, so it's going to happen.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
50's the new 90, apparently.
Yeah, so. You're just a throwback, man.
That's what it is.
It's a good thing. I like it. Well, you're into craft beer too, man. So your wife gets you into craft beer.
Yeah, I told you before. My idea of craft beer was like Heineken or Corona. That was so
non-domestic.
We used to have a place here in Kinston called Hams. It's where East Coast Wings is, and they were like the first place you'd ever go to have like homemade brew or brewed beer in house. Mm-hmm. And they also had these other like little craft beers, like a Two Dogs Orange Ale or something like that. And we would go there and have a dinner, and she would order these like I call them frou-frou beers. I was like, I want a Budweiser, give me a Bud Light. And it was just this joke that she was into craft beer. And so eventually, I had a bunch of friends of mine that they would visit my college buddies. They would go to these different beer festivals, and they're like, you ought to come. I'm like, well, have they got like Natty Light and Mick Ultra and stuff like that? No, then I don't want to go.
Right.
Why would I go to it? And so eventually they finally kind of browed. My wife was really the one like, you ought to go. You need to broaden your horizons, expand your horizons. So I went to the first beer festival down in Wilmington with this group of buddies I've known all my life. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I mean, truthfully, I spent a lot of time at the Dos Equis tent and the PBR tent, but I did kind of venture out and then got to the point where I started to really appreciate, during the winter, I love a darker beer. Mother Earth used to make one called Dark Cloud that they kind of stopped making, bring back every once in a while. But it's like my favorite beer in the world. But yeah, my wife just kind of got me more into try this one. So yeah, I've got a much more refined beer palate now. But at the same time, I love going to Pizzaville or somewhere and getting a Bud Heavy and just kind of remembering my roots, so to speak.
Right. So yeah, I remember where you come from. Yeah.
Funny, Ohio, a Bud Heavy really got me out of a jam in Cleveland, Ohio one time.
Okay.
Cleveland is the variety vacation land of any person from the South that wants to go up there. But I went in the dead of winter one time. It was a company I used to work for, and we worked with Progressive Insurance a lot up around, I guess it's Mayfield or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I flew into Cleveland and never been there before in my life. I was all by myself, flew in and just got a hotel room at the closest airport hotel I could find, which was the Ramada Inn at the time. Very nice. Very rough. Yeah, very nice. It was a very nice place. So I got there. I was tired. I hadn't eaten all day. And they had like this little bar restaurant kind of attached to it, but not really. And I was hungry, man. And I wasn't going to drive around Cleveland in the middle of the night because I'm just not going to drive around Cleveland in the middle of the night. No offense.
Smart.
And walked in there, and it was like a scene out of Animal House, and I walked in. Music stopped. Everybody turned around, and it was a biker group. I mean, it was a biker bar. I didn't notice all the motorcycles outside, or I would not have gone in. But everyone, I don't know if they were like Hell's Angels or pagans or what, but it was at least 20 bikers, and they were just staring at me. And I said, I have made a incredibly bad decision here.
I'm sorry.
And I've got like a pink polo shirt.
Yeah, I was going to say
and
Southerner for
and
sure.
some khakis like pants and like little dock shoes like I got all down. This whole place was like, what And so I just kind of went in and I sat down at a table, and they did not stop staring at me. They were just looking at me. And this waitress comes over, and she's got maybe 3 teeth, sweet as you could be, though. And she was like, "Are you in the right place?" And I said, "Probably not, but I'm very hungry. Can I get some food?" And she said, "Well, yeah. Do you need a menu?" "Yeah." And she said, "What do you want to drink?" And I'm, my first inclination was like, maybe a gin and tonic or something like that. And I'm looking around at these guys who are still staring at me. I said, "Have you got Bud Heavy?" And then I heard one of the guys goes, "Whew, thank goodness," like that. And she said, "Yes, we do." And so she brought me a big old frosty mug of Budweiser, and they came over and said, "We thought for sure you were going to order some girly drink or something." I'm like, "Yeah, no, man, I'm from the South, And I started talking in my country voice, and they were like, "Oh, yeah." And so we had the best old time. They were like, "Oh, North Carolina, where so-and-so is," and this, and I rode through there, got in a fight in a bar in Fayetteville, and it was like, and ended up getting a steak there. They had a steak special, like $9.99 ribeye with a baked potato. I've told friends of mine, like, if you ever go to Cleveland, go to this little bar, order the steak special. It is off the chain. Get your Bud Heavy, though, if you go in there. But that's one I've got 2 or 3 little Ohio snippets, but my first trip ever there, and that was like, terrifying, but at the same time, Budweiser saved my life in that place.
Yeah, you're not hurting my feelings anything about Cleveland or Cincinnati. I'm a Columbus guy, and those are, they were the bigger cities, and now the top dogs there in the middle of the state.
So we've got an office in Columbus, actually. I don't know the exact address.
Check it out.
Wilson Avenue is all I can tell you.
I used to live off of Wilson.
Really?
Swear to God.
So we've
Wilson
got
and Trade.
We've got a warehouse and distribution center there on Wilson Avenue. Yeah. I think we lose a catalytic converter every week up there off of some of our trucks. But
standard.
Great group of people, awesome group of people that work up there. They do love them. Some of Ohio, they love Columbus, love the area. Yep. I have not had the pleasure yet of making a trip up there. I'm being told that in the spring I do have to go up there and do some stuff. So I'll look up some family for you, or whatever. If you need me to take anything up there, just let me know.
They got the casino over there on that west side of Columbus, over by Wilson.
Okay.
Hilliard, Dublin's all west side. But our first house we lived in was like, we would get off at the Wilson Avenue exit, and then hang a left on Trayview, cross the highway, and we're right there.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah, Wilson.
We'll definitely check it out.
That's wild. I think I probably know whereabouts. I'll definitely check it out.
Just look for all the delivery trucks that don't have catalytic converters.
Yeah, the loud ones.
Easy to find. Look for the loud ones. They literally every week and they're rental like Penske trucks, so they'll have one, and we'll take it to the shop, or whatever shop they say. They'll get another loaner, and it's gone in like a week. So they've started parking them inside. People are taking them home now. They're letting employees take them home and drive them in their neighborhood, so they don't get them jacked there. So
makes sense. Yeah. We were talking. I was talking with Danny last night. You guys got that big game up in the big house.
Yes, we do.
You're going to go to that? Dude, how many chances do you get to go?
You don't get many chances to go. I am. We'll see. I don't. It'll be a good game. I think we'll give them all.
It'll be a good one for like your. What's your retreats that you do?
Merry Man Weekend.
Tell me about this, because this shit cracks me up when you guys see these posts.
I'll tell you about the group of college friends that go to beer festivals, stuff like that. That is this group, and most of us, growing up, I had my best friend here, Ray Randall, whose father was a veterinarian here for a long time. He and I ended up at ECU together, and then he married a sweet girl named Leah, and then her sister married another guy, so he became like brother-in-law, and we knew him. His name was Doug, and another couple of guys. We'd all get together. Like in college, we kind of sort of knew each other, but not super close. So Ray had this idea after he got married, and all of us got married. It's about 6 of us guys. After he got married, all of us got married about the same time. He said, let's all get together for a weekend and go down the beach, because I didn't know this guy, or somebody didn't know this guy, but he knew all of us. So he said, let's get us all together, go down the beach, hang out, watch the ACC basketball tournament. So we first one, they did that, went down there, drank a few beers, hung out, watched the tournament. It was kind of cool, kind of neat. That was the first one. So the next year, let's do this again. Let's kind of extend it out. So we got a couple other folks to go. And that's really when it became Married Man Weekend. And it was just one weekend in the spring, early spring, usually right around March. Watch that basketball tournament, and maybe a little other March Madness, depending on the weekend, how it felt. His parents had a great place down there that was kind of central, and it was just guys hanging out. It was funny. We would talk about marriage, because we're all newly married, newlyweds, that kind of thing. Oh, yeah, the old ball and chain kind of thing, that kind of stuff. But we all came from very similar backgrounds too. It's funny because we were all kind of involved in our churches. We did these kinds of things, but we all love drinking beer and having a good time, playing pool, and so that was like the first 2 or 3 years, and then kept going. So right now we're on year 23 at this point. And it's gone from just, we do that weekend. We still do that weekend at the beach for the basketball tournament. But we also go to Key West about once every two or three years when we can. Or we'll meet in Greensboro at like the steakhouse for a weekend, or go to Raleigh. We go to Wilmington every year for the big beer festival down there. And it's like people tell how many of these weekends do you have?
How many are you guys granted?
It really does. My wife hasn't put a number on it. I can usually do 3 and then maybe a meetup. Like maybe not an overnight stay, but I can do about 3 overnights a year, and she gets it because she knows all the wives too, and it's like, it's super clean, super funny. I mean, and we're at a point now where we're so old that we don't really. It's funny because we at first it was just like hang out in the house, drink some beer, watch some games. And then it became, well, let's go to this place. Let's go to the restaurant. Let's go to the, kind of, and now we've gotten back to, let's just sit at the house, drink some beer, watch some games. And one of our guys, he brews his own beer. He does. So he brings the big kegs down, and we've got the jockey box set up. And we're pouring our own beers and making our own beers and telling him what we want. We want a porter, we want a golden, and he'll do those and get those ready about 2 months in advance. He'll start on that. And, nice. But yeah, we have a good time. The Key West trips are a lot of fun. One of the guys, his parents live down there during the winter, and so they come back here during the summer, and so he's down there a lot during the summer. He's a teacher, so he doesn't, he's got the opportunity to kind of go down the street. He hangs out in a lot of the bars on Duval Street, Sloppy Joe's being like kind of the biggest one that he hangs out in a lot, and he knows all the bartenders down there. I mean, when I say knows them, they like, hey, Ray, how you doing? Yeah, and it's fun because we go down there. They're like, hey, Ray, and you drink almost for free, and they're giving us tours like, if you got to go to the bathroom, just walk through the kitchen. It's okay, and we walk in. It's like cheers, hey, it's a merry man, guys, and it's like so Key West for us is just off the chain fun because we're like the old guys kind of going down there and having a good time. Kind of like the beer festival's the same way. I mean, we go to the beer festival down in Wilmington, and I'd say the average age down there is about 23, 24. Then you've got these like 5, 6, 50-year-old men kind of running through. But we've gone so many times that people are like running up to us going, hey, we were hoping we'd see you guys this year. And we're getting pictures taken with them and all this kind of stuff. And those are things that kind of drive my wife crazy. She's like, oh, God. She's rolling her eyes like, these crazy people. Yeah. But it's fun. I mean, it's all super innocent fun. And again, it's a testament. The same group, this core group, none of us have been divorced. We're all married to the same people we were married to before. We've all got kids just about the same age, so it's relatable. And we'll sit around and talk about, so hey, how's your son doing? How's your daughter doing? What's going on with that? Funerals and stuff for parents, they show up and call, and it's a friendship. I didn't have like a super big group of friends growing up, so this group for me is like, I mean, every day we're texting back. We've got chats going on all day long about anything, and we all have the same interests, same loves, same cares. Our wife, we all kind of married the same type of wife. You had to that puts up with this like absolute silliness.
Yeah.
And
it's a special kind of woman to grant
really
you
does.
Married man.
And my wife's friends are like, do you let him just go to like all the? And she's like, she's happy to get rid of me for a weekend, like, it's more great. Or less. But
try it.
It's exciting, and I absolutely love it. I mean, I encourage, like, whenever a buddy of mine gets married or a younger person gets married, like, find you some guys, get together at least one weekend every year, make it a thing. And I mean, for a while there, we were doing T-shirts every year. I've got like 15, 18 T-shirts. T-shirts got to be too expensive to like keep doing them. We're going to bring
koozies or something.
We started doing like 3-4 times a year. I mean, that's kind of hard to keep up with too. And, but now, I mean, I'm at home. My daughter's like walking around with my married man weekend shirt on. Down at the bottom it says "No wife, no kids, no problem" on there. It's kind of slapped me in the face with that. Aren't you there? I mean, you shouldn't have that. But,
that is funny.
So yeah, we do every year down at the beach. It's kind of a theme weekend. It might be the '80s theme or something like that. Mm-hmm. we make it as stupid as possible. And,
I love it.
Yeah, we do competitions too. We do we play golf, and the older we've gotten, golf isn't as exciting as it used to be. So now we got to play putt putt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then you talk about competitive. I mean, and we have a trophy actually made with a big putt putt blue ball. It's called the blue ball trophy.
I've seen those. Yes.
And so that's a big deal if you can get that. And we do points for like different events and things, and we make it kind of like a Merry Man Olympics. And
Yeah.
so you try to come home with the goal is to come home with the cup, the coveted Merry Man Cup, and the blue ball trophy. And I got both this year. So. Ooh. This is huge.
You have to drop the pod in the group chat. Let them all know.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's fun
the
stuff.
The blue ball.
That's right. I came home, put it up on the mantle, and my wife Liz was looking at it, going like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, you had to move the family pictures to the side a little
everything
bit.
Gets taken down.
Right in the middle.
The two Merry Men trophies go up there. And she's like, "No, it's not." And I came home one day, they're not up there anymore. I need to find. I have no idea. What
you got to take them back. Yeah. That is sweet though. I love it. I think it's hilarious, man. That's definitely one of those stories that you post. I'm like, it cracks me.
Well, whenever that weekend comes, I have people that I don't even know that will come up to me like a brewer or something like that. It's like you don't know who I am, but I follow you on Facebook. And when's your next Merry Man weekend? Yeah. It's like, oh gosh, here we go.
How do you like that? Being an introvert, is it kind of weird still?
It's very, very weird. Yeah. It is very weird. And
it's kind of awkward. Yeah.
It's super awkward. I've gotten used to it now. And again, it's Kinston, so you think you know everybody. I mean, I've lived here all my life and all that kind of thing, but you don't. And again, at 50, I forget more than I know, but it still is kind of weird. And again, it's not super popularity or anything like that. I'm not, but it is weird to somebody just come up to you. And it used to like really bug my wife a lot too, because she would introduce herself or talk to somebody. She goes, "Oh, you're married to that guy on Facebook," and that would she'd be like, "Yeah, I'm that funny.
I've been reduced.
I'm that funny guy's wife. That is what she is. I'm Dan's wife. That's it. She loves that.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, and it's not unusual though. It's just for us to be sitting somewhere and somebody just come up and say, "Oh yeah, when are you going to post this? When are you going to do that?" And it's like,
yeah. You get over it after a certain while, and it's like it's whatever, and then it's kind of like a run of the thing.
I'm introverted, so especially when strangers come up to me, I'm immediately like. It takes me a little while to warm up. And once I warm up, I don't shut up. I just she's
like, all right, let's go.
That's always been my wife's kind of been the more outgoing. She would drag me to things and take me to things. And we first got married, I would not. I mean, we still don't do like groups. I see groups of couples that go out to eat and drink.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff
like
like
a
that.
big.
And I'm like, what kind of monsters are you? How do you do this? I couldn't possibly do that. Yeah. Now I can go out with the boys or something like that, but. It's just she would drag me. It's like, we've got to go to this event. We went, this little party. We've got to go to this party thing. We got to go to it, and I'd just fight it. And I'm sick. I can't. So she finally dragged me there, and then she's got to like drag me out of there because I don't shut up. I'm talking to people and walking around, that kind of thing. Once I get used to it, obviously I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that too.
Yeah. There's more of us than we care to admit sometimes, but those people that can just like walk in a room and just, hey, how's everybody doing? I'm amazed by it, but it's just there's some kind of monster. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, for sure. My wife, it drives her nuts because I'm kind of like that. I walk everywhere with my eyes up, looking for someone to
just talk to, and engage with, or something like that.
And she'll be like, "Can you just?" Because she's more introverted and kind of quiet, but then she's the same way. So we're kind of like flip flops in that. Like we'll walk right into a spot, and I'll get us into like 9 conversations, and then I'll try to get us out of like 8 of them real quick. Because it's the best way to figure out if you want to talk to somebody is like start and then be like, darn. But then getting her to leave because she'll find that one person that's also kind of like not really feeling being there, and then they hit it off over her being weird, and then they're like, before long they're like the loudest 2 people in the bar, and you're like, what happened to the 2 of you? This is a change of behavior. You guys are drunk.
We gotta go. That's me. That is absolutely me. I can hear my wife now just kind of that's it.
So you have been writing a couple of these funny things. This is maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, and it was before wrestling season started. Maybe like August, something like that. You had written the one about like being out at the bar and some dude recognizes you.
We were at I was at East Coast Wings, and and sitting there at the bar, and I was waiting for my takeout order. And I think they messed it up or something like that. So I was just kind of waiting, and this guy is sitting just right to my left staring at me. He's at the end of the bar, and I'm sitting there, and he's just staring me down. And you can feel when somebody's just like honing in on you. And I'm not a bar talker. If I'm at the bar by myself, I'm just on my phone. I'm just waiting for my food, dude. Yep. And he's just like, you that guy on Facebook or something. And I'm like, yeah. How you doing? And just being talking. And he said, you think you're funny, don't you? I'm like, well, no. I mean, I just kind of write what sort of comes to me. Well, I don't think you're funny. Duly noted. Absolutely. Okay. And I'm like, where are those chicken wings? I'm kind of ready to get out of here.
Right. Yeah.
And then he starts talking about his wife thinks I'm funny. His wife shows him all my stuff, and I can't stand it. I don't. And I'm like literally sitting there praying, just Lord, just get my food out here, get me out of here. This dude's creeping me out, making me kind of scared. Yeah. And he was like 2 pitchers in at least at the point, and I am just trying to get my food to leave. But then this other guy shows up, who I knew this guy, and the whole time I'm kind of trying to figure out who this person is, because I don't know.
Right.
Obviously, his wife is a friend of mine on Facebook. Yep. I do, at this point now, I do know, but at the time I had no clue. This other guy comes in, he's like, hey, you know this boy? And the guy was like, yeah, this is Dan, blah, blah, blah. He thinks he's funny. Say something funny.
You're like really
and I'm
sweating.
Like, I can't, I just write it. I don't come up, I don't know. See, he ain't got nothing funny, and I'm just... Finally, she brings the food, and I'm just like, I'm just out of here. That was one of the most uncomfortable days of my life, because it was like we were talking about earlier, dealing with talking to drunk people and hanging out with drunk people. This is like,
you're like, I need a picture to catch up to this.
About to say, if we're gonna have this conversation, I need to catch up, because this isn't working the way it's going right now. So.
Dude, I thought that was so funny. So that one, and then you wrote like a week or so, right around that same time, was you saying that people come up to you, or maybe it was all tied into that one. Maybe it might have been one of those really long ones, and it was like, my wife, it drives her nuts when people come up to me. So then like 3 weeks after you had written that, we were at Mother Earth for like, we were going over on Mondays because everything else was closed. We were calling it Mother Earth Monday, and then I got too good at it, and then I had to quit going. But we were there, and you guys were sitting there at the bar, and we made like half-second eye contact, and I was like,
should have come over.
And I was like, I'm not gonna walk over there. I'm not gonna be that guy to the. I was like, I'm gonna mention that. Down the road, I'll mention that story.
If it's not you, it would have been somebody else. I guarantee you, at some point, somebody else came up and said something.
Yeah, you guys got up and laughed, and I laughed and looked at my brother and my wife, and I was like, that's the dude that writes the funny stories on Facebook. And my wife was like, well, it's not like you have to walk over there and say hello. And I was like, yeah, well, the last one, he just wrote about, being interrupted.
It has gone down a little bit since then. I hadn't had as many people do it, but it's, yeah.
Oh, God, that is too funny. That is too funny. What's your beer over there at Mother Earth now? Like, what's your staple?
Well, like I said, Dark Cloud, and everybody at Mother Earth will know this. Dark Cloud is like my favorite beer in the world. And since they took it away, my life has been somewhat meaningless, but we're trying to get a little bit better. This time of year, I like a darker beer. They've got a winter something that they've kind of replaced it with, a little bit like Dark Cloud. I like that, so I like the darker beers this time of year. Not an IPA guy. I don't dig on the IPAs at all.
I love them.
Now
Big IPA guy.
Now the one they've got, the Long Weekend. I like that one. To me, that's not a typical IPA.
It's pretty malty for an IPA.
It's a little malty for an IPA. In fact, I think they used to call it like an oatmeal. What was it? It's oatmeal something or whatever. But it was. I like that one. I can drink it, but it's definitely not my go-to. But any kind of darker. My wife's a big wit fan, Weeping Willow Wit. Okay. I like. They've got one now that's Bask in the Limelight. So it's kind of Corona-ish, but very light. I can't wait till summer, because I think that'd be a cool beer to drink during the summer. I like to sip on the Silent Nights. Can't have a lot of those, though.
I know.
You still got to drive home.
Literally stout.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Yep. But yeah, any of the darker ones, even Duck Blind. That's a good. I call it a crushable kind of amber type beer. That's pretty good.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you got the Untapped app on your phone?
I do. Yes,
I love that thing.
And I don't use it as much as I should. You got to keep up with it. And we do it. I mean, again, kind of the social aspect. We try to do a date night every week, and inevitably we end up over there. Like Sunday nights are easy for us because we kind of go over there. The kids are kind of doing their thing. We end up over there. We have a pizza or something and drink a beer. And then Friday nights now we've gotten to where we'll hit up Stanley's. We try to go early before it gets a little too crowded.
Yeah, yeah.
We
It's a
like
little
going in
wild.
there and like Haley and Emma are in there or something, and just get us a drink. And I just love kind of watching the craft cocktail, kind of put them together.
Yeah, I like
and
that
those
too.
kinds
Yeah.
of things. We do the tour de Travis, where we go to Stanley's, then we go to Harpendale's, and pretty soon it sounds like we're going to be going over to the Mullet here
hitting
across the
the Mullet.
street. So, but yeah, the tour de Travis is always fun, and it's funny because each one you go to, he'll show up.
Yeah, he's
in
gonna
there.
pop through for at least 5. Yeah.
Pretty much anywhere you go, he's going to pop in and show up. So,
Yeah.
we were at Emerald Isle. I think it was this past summer before last, and we were just sitting out on the beach, random place, just decided to get some rays. It's like on a Thursday or something like that, and I'm just sitting there, I got my little Coors Light there, and I'm killing it. And I look up, the shadow appears, and it's Travis. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I just came down, hang out for the day. Good seeing y'all here." It's like, we can't get away from you. But
Right.
It's all, he's awesome, and kind of like I was talking about with you. I mean, he's trying to do so many different things down here and getting stuff done. It's cool. Again, just somebody who's grown up here. I remember when I was little, if you told me, "Hey, you need to like walk through this area or something like that at night," I would have said you're crazy. There's no possible way. And now,
Right.
we feel so comfortable coming down here and hanging out. There's so much to do. A lot of places to eat. We don't have a need to go anywhere else.
Yep.
When we first got married, we would go like every Friday night or Saturday night. We'd go to Greenville just to like have a date night,
Shake
get something to
loose.
eat.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the last time we went to Greenville just to eat. It's probably, my wife's got a Red Lobster fetish that she kind of likes going.
Big on the cheddar biscuits.
Cheddar biscuit, really the ultimate feast in general.
Okay.
That was our big thing when we were dating, and even when we got married. If we had a couple extra nickels to rub together, a little bit of money, maybe extra season or something that came in, she would say, again from Oklahoma, so she didn't appreciate fine seafood kind of like I do. She'd want to go to Red Lobster, and we'd go, and it was like our secret little thing. We wouldn't tell anybody we were going to Red Lobster because they look at you like, Red Lobster.
Yeah,
Like,
especially around here. Yeah.
So we go to Red Lobster, we get 2 ultimate feasts, a couple of beers, and I mean, we would just be fat and happy when we left there. You smell it for like 2 or 3 days. It was awesome. And like even now though, every once in a while, what you want to do? She goes, "How about the lobster?"
Got a hankering
I mean,
for
you
the
just
lobster.
you get it in you, and it's like, all right, we'll do it. And we again, it's like she's gonna kill me for even like broadcasting it out there. But our friends know. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, y'all got to do that lobster thing.
Yeah.
So we'll go over there and we'll get us 2, just like we did when we were dating. 2 ultimate feasts. We sit in a little booth, try to get in the very back of the place so nobody can see us.
Yeah, try to hide. Yeah.
Try to hide, nobody will see us.
Sit on the same side, face the wall.
We'll load up on those Cheddar Bay biscuits, and just and again, you can't. It takes like 2 or 3 days to wash that smell out of you after you've had all that garlic and everything on it.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Man, it's so good.
I haven't taken my kids there, but my daughter the other night, I took her to Food Line with me, and she ran around the whole Food Line. We went to the Plaza instead of Vernon.
Uh-huh.
Threw her off a little bit,
Yeah.
and she spent like
shake
she
you up.
said it was 20 minutes, but she actually asked someone because she couldn't find them, and I was like, I'm not asking. So if you want them, go get them. And then she comes back with 2 boxes. Is 2 boxes okay? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So
That makes us good.
she was mad last night. I had briskets in the I had pork shoulders in the oven. So I still do that. But she couldn't use the oven for her cheddar biscuits last night. So she's probably hooking them up right now.
Good. We have something to come home to. That butter on there and that garlic. Oh, we made sausage balls with that mix this year.
Ooh,
Super
yeah.
good. I highly recommend.
Okay.
It was incredible.
that
Absolutely.
sounds really good, actually.
Really good.
Yeah, I've been doing since I'm Southern now. Been cooking a lot of pig.
Yeah, I noticed the little. You got a little twang there.
I
That's
said
pretty
y'all like 3 times yesterday. That's a hard one for me because I actually natively say you all. So
good.
yeah,
It's better than use guys. I mean,
use guys is
Use guys,
that's a
that's-
whole nother.
that's
I
Jersey,
I
yeah.
can't do that. Yeah, that's too east.
hard to hear. We've got a guy I work with. He's a use guys, and it's just,
Yeah,
please
yeah.
stop.
That
Please
one's
make it
tough for
stop.
me.
Yeah.
But the y'all, my daughters are growing up with it,
Mm-hmm.
so hearing them talk to me sometimes, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
it's this. Don't call it that. It's the
So you're country now, and you're cooking pork butts and,
Yeah.
and things like that.
yeah. I throw them in the oven though. It's
Oven.
convection, so
Okay.
it's kind of the same thing.
No, it's not.
It's not at
really
all.
Not.
Yeah.
It's really not. You got to smoke them. You got to put them out there about 4:00 in the morning. You got to be
Yeah.
out there in your tank top and your jorts and get that fire going and start drinking first thing in the morning.
Yeah, see, I'm all for that. I just got to get the right equipment. So maybe when we move, I want to do one I just want to build one in the back and then just have it ready
Little
to go.
pit and
Yeah.
everything out there, a little smoke box.
Yep.
That'll work.
Yeah,
You're
maybe
in the
I
right
put it
place
in the
for it.
easement back there in between the buildings would be
I'm
really
sure there's
good.
no code against that whatsoever. I mean, why wouldn't
Kinston, man, there's no code anyway. What are you talking
you?
about?
Probably do it up on the roof. I mean,
Dude, you'll know.
we need a rooftop bar around here. That's kind of one lacking thing.
Babe, I told you. So up front, well, I'll take you up and show you. Like right there upstairs is like where the living room would be. And it's kind of like a weird long L shape. Don't need all of it. It's 27 feet wide. Don't need a 27 foot
way
wide.
too big. Way too big.
So it's perfect for a spiral staircase.
Okay.
Poke through the ceiling and then just build a platform on top up there. I mean, it's perfect. Right here on this intersection, right here at the
Easy peasy.
corner.
Barbecue festival, looking down at all the commoners and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll make it super easy to set up the G when we drop it for New Year's Eve.
Thinking way ahead.
Yeah, it
Two
all
steps
comes
ahead.
full circle.
Always. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, rooftop bar in an Italian restaurant. Like an authentic Italian restaurant.
Yeah, and a legit steakhouse that just
Legit
focuses
steakhouse,
on that. I mean, you've got How To, really good steak. Harpin Dills is doing steak, but like none of them are like the black linen, sit down, really nice.
That's gonna be a tough sell around here.
I know, it's tough.
And we got Baron in the Beef, which is again not steakhouse, but it's.
I can't do Baron in the
I know. Well, I can't. But we've
been
gotten
there
back
once.
into it a lot. Now, see, my problem is with steaks. Is I grade everybody's steaks based on my own steaks, and that's hard to do. I've just gotten where I can order a steak in a restaurant that I feel comfortable doing it, and like it's not a complete waste of my money. But
Yeah, that's our problem too. Is we kind of do that. We're decent at the cow coming from the Midwest,
oh sure,
and yeah, it's like, and it's so much more expensive when you don't make it yourself.
that's true.
You're like,
It really is.
I can just smack it right out of the park right now for like $8 on that fillet from
throw
Food
it on the
Line.
grill, flip it, throw it on the grill, and done.
Oh man,
Jump
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Good stuff. All right, let's make those things happen, and we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
Rooftop bar though, yeah, I like that. Or just a place where I can come drink on the roof and like throw stuff.
Yeah, I'll get like a kegerator or something up there. It'll be fine.
I see, we're simpatico. We got this.
Well, I should have just built the lift in the back to go all the way up. That was a mistake. Short-sightedness.
It's like going down those spiral stairs might be a little difficult after a couple
Telling
of
you.
drinks.
Yeah, it's like a 15-foot ceiling too, so it's like 2 flights of stairs in a circle.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just put a fireman's pole. So spiral up and then
What
straight
could
shot
go
down.
wrong? What could go wrong with
I can't think of anything.
Good. It's good.
See, we're coming up with all sorts of great ideas. We'll have to do this.
We're fixing everything now, so this
Yeah.
is good.
Oh, I'm telling you. Well, man, I usually do this thing called shameless self-promotion. Kind of do it the whole time, but you got anything you shamelessly, selfishly want to plug?
Not really. I mean, I
Don't follow you on Facebook. Don't come up to me when you see me in public.
Things like that. But
Just
just people laugh at me all the time because I spend almost all of my time in Greenville. I mean, 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, I'm there, and people kind of laugh. Everybody there knows I'm from Kinston because I make a big deal about it.
Nice.
Or you're from Kinston? Oh, you got out of there without getting shot today. It's like
Yeah.
Kinston's not that bad. In fact, before Greenville, we had breweries, we had tap rooms, we had farm to table, we had distillery, all these things before Greenville ever did. Greenville was just chain restaurants all over the place.
Yeah.
I always kind of chuckle when I go over Mother Earth or some places like that, and I see all my Greenville friends over here eating. I'm like, oh, you didn't get shot when you came over, did you? So, but I mean, anything I would promote would be Kinston in general. I mean, we have a lot of folks, in Kinston that support everything, support what you guys are doing, and Steven and Elmore's and everybody else, Travis, and it's awesome. But we've got a lot of people around here in Kinston, Lenore County, who just want to bag on it. And I've never understood that. Why would you try to crap on where you live? It's we've got so much going on. Why wouldn't you want more people to come here? Why wouldn't you do things and say things that would encourage people to come here? Because at the end of the day, that helps our tax rate, that helps our business, that helps you guys. It's a win-win situation just to say good things and to promote the good stuff. And so my shameless self-promotion would be promote Kinston. I mean, promote this town. Again, I love it here, raised my family here. People ask me, why don't you live XYZ, or you've worked in Greenville for like 18 years. Well, why would you live over there? I'm like, I'm 30 minutes away. I don't have to put it with Greenville. I mean, I can leave Greenville. It's, I've got friends that live in Raleigh, and they commute to work. And they live 10 miles from their office, but it takes them 45 minutes to get there.
I've lived
and they're telling me, why aren't you living in Greenville? I'm like, well, I live, I'm 30 miles away, and I'm 36 minutes door to door, and I'm looking at cows while you're looking at bumpers. So I like that a lot better. But yeah, I mean, love where you're from, live where you're from, support your local businesses. That's, that's a big deal for us, being able to, you know, somebody joked with me the other day, you guys must be alcoholics because you always see you out eating and drinking. And it's like, yeah, well, no, we support, you know, where we live because these people, I grew up, you know, with Jackie and Brad, known them all my life. You know, Chris Moore, you know, you had him on the other day after a couple of beers. He couldn't say the word oyster, and I kind of laughed about that. But it was, I mean, but, you know, folks like that, Steven and Trent, and those guys, so many others around here that just work hard to make this a better place for us to live. And anytime we can support that and do, you know, help you guys, Travis, whoever, I mean, it's just fun. It's fun to be part of it.
Yeah, for sure. The community aspect of it's really cool. That's what we really like from a man coming from like a major city. I mean, Columbus is bigger than Raleigh. And, you know, it's right around the same if you give them all the counties and you lump them together. But traffic sucks. Like 4-lane highways on both sides. Like that's not fun. People.
Greenville traffic. So I mean,
do we go to?
Like
I'm telling you, we go into Greenville and we make it to that little weird like Y split. And by the time I get there, I look over and I go, this is exactly why we live in Kinston. Remember, this is like Pickerington. Greenville is like the suburb we grew up in.
So they built this bypass. So they built, you know, the new bypass around Greenville. And before that, to get to my office, I had to go all the way through Greenville. Like Winterville will go through Greenville proper all the way to the other side of it. And it literally took me an hour and 5 minutes in the morning and the afternoon to get to and from work. It takes me 36 minutes now that's open. I've never been so excited about a $50 million highway in my life that when they decided to build, I was like, this is going to be a waste of time. Now I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it totally, like, it brings to light there's going to be a bypass and then the town's going to decay to nothing. No. Shut up. If you make it easier to go around, more people are going to come through the county. And
a lot of people forget that, like, 50, 60 years ago, this was they bypassed Kinston already one time. This was a bypass. And so they're going to build another one, and it'll all work out in the end.
It's fine. It's growth. Just quit posting negative stuff and post positive stuff so people have a reason to stop.
I agree.
You don't want it to be, Danny and I talked about last night. It's a great initiative that you're doing something in the city, but like we just did like a crime task force because crime's so bad. Well, it's really not, though. If you look at actually all the numbers, it really isn't, especially if you look at a region. Like, a lot of it really legit happens in, like, a 6-block area.
If you look at actual data, instead of, like, what, you know, Edgar said on Facebook or something
jerk
like that.
on YouTube making the top 10 worst places.
Yeah.
People that share that, it drives me nuts. If you share a video that someone makes that doesn't live here about this is one of the and then they share it into your word of mouth, it's spam, and all they're doing is clickbaiting you so they get ad revenue.
And those are the people who generally 2 weeks later sending out messages say, hey, I guess I got hacked, or sorry, I got cloned, or something like that. It's like, I can tell because you're an idiot because you share these kinds of things. Exactly. You click on anything that you think is going to cause a problem. So.
Yeah, I don't get it. Pride where you reside, man. It's a very simple concept. Exactly. I talked about last night too. Like, I'm not from Pickerington, Ohio. I went there and graduated high school from there, and I really, it's whatever. But, like, you come down here and throw a little shade about the town I went to high school in, I mean, that's fine. We'll click this thing off real quick. We can throw hands a little bit. And it's just like, and then you hear and you're like, oh, you move in, you're like the new kid at school, and then everyone comes up to tell you how crappy the school is, and you're like, I've lived here my whole life, and this place is a shithole.
It's always
then why this way. If you've been here your whole life and it's terrible, then why haven't you done anything about it, or why haven't you left? It's like, it just hurts my brain. You're bragging about being inept at change.
That's true. It is true, and and I know every city has people like that. It just seems like we have more than our fair share of vocal ones that do that. And, anything good that happens, it's like they just want to find that negative piece.
Yeah.
Never understood.
For sure. That's why I'm doing the pod, man. Trying to drown out, have more positive hashtag Kinston posts on YouTube than hashtag Kinston. It's an idiot on a bike spitting at people.
Kingston.
We tag that too. Yeah, I tag that. Gets you extra clicks. You know how it works.
I got that G in.
I'm serious. We are trying to work on it. First of all, looking for sponsors for the pod. We'll take it. Hit me up. We already got 2. They're my companies though, so they don't really pay me anything. So, Additive America, Big Bark Social, check them out. Really appreciate it if you do that. Please do the like and subscribe and hit the bell thing like all the cool kids say on YouTube, because it actually does help. And, it really just, for me, it's 100% about having more positive posts that come back to this town. Yep. Because I think there's less than 300 videos on YouTube that are hashtagged Kingston or Kinston. Sorry. See how natural it is.
One now. So.
Yeah. Okay. But, if I can have 100, if I can do 200 of these in a year, I'm going to almost double the number in 1 year, and these are all going to be positive.
That'd be awesome.
That's the goal. So
Pride in where you reside. That's a good bumper sticker.
to do that, maybe we could get a little T-shirt or something.
G behind that.
Talking my language. Dang. Well, if you don't have anything else to add,
I'm good, man.
Awesome. That was episode 30 of the Kickin' It With podcast. My name is Zac Holcomb. I'll be here tomorrow on episode 31. But Dan Owens, thanks for coming and joining us on this one, man.
Appreciate
it for sure.
Absolutely.
All right.